Hi and welcome to Coaches on the Couch, your relationship specialist exploring human behaviour. My name is Sharon Page and this is Phil Pollard, and today's topic of the show is how can you have a life when you are a parent? Phil.
Well, Sharon, that is a great topic.
It is a great topic.
Yeah.
Since you are a parent, I'm yet to be one.
Well, you look at it's and the question you put out there was how can being a parent stop you from doing what you want to do? Look, and the answer is no. We've got a couple of guests coming up later in the show that we're going to explore this whole topic with. And look, the short answer I'm always going to say is no, because I've seen the opposite of that, where people get lost in being a parent.
Yeah.
And I've got a friend of mine. He's 45 years old, and he still goes around his mum's place every day for dinner. He lives on his own, but his mum just smothers him, and makes funny jokes about all that he is. And it's just like, she hasn't let go of being a parent. I remember when...
In what way?
Well, she continues, she looks after him, she babies him, makes sure he's paying his bills. It's like he's just a little kid at 45 years old moving out. No wonder he had a relationship that didn't work for him because it just completely fell apart because his wife wasn't his mother, but he married someone like his mother. Well, looking for someone like his mother. And sometimes your partner in life doesn't want to be doing that. Yeah. But, you can have kids and still be a career. Still have a career, still do the life that you want to live. So I'm a big believer in being a parent, and that it doesn't stop you from doing what you want to do, because you're the role model. You're the role model for your kids, and they'll watch. And if you think they're not watching, just go to anyone's house that you know, and sit there and watch the kids. They're exactly mini versions of their parents.
Oh, it's so true.
Yeah.
How can a parent actually have more than a life than just being a parent? I've got a girlfriend of mine, and she has 4 children, one who has a disability.
Yep.
And does require a lot of her, a lot of appointments and things to go to. She's up at 6 o'clock in the morning getting the kids ready off for school. She's doing things throughout the day with her other child because she's yet to be in school. And then she also works. She has 2 jobs. She's a fitness instructor as well as cleaning work. And she doesn't get home till, whatever hour at night. And she just seems to have no time for herself. And we've often had this conversation, like how does she get this time for herself to have more than what is happening in her life?
What's the question I'd be asking? Like, what did she love doing before the kids come along? Does she have an answer for that?
She does. Yeah.
And does she get time to do that?
No.
Oh, well, that's probably what it is. Because there's more than one dimension of having life. Being a parent is just simply one. You can have your work, you need to juggle your finances, and you want to have a future that you want to live into as well. So being a parent is certainly not going to stop you. But we need to be guided. I think there should be licenses sometimes, and before people can automatically become parents, because we forget that they're watching us constantly and always doing the things that we want to do.
So there is a way to have a life.
Oh, of course there is.
Being a parent, because I'm curious, because I'm yet to be a parent, and I'm wondering myself, how do you make that possible?
Well, this is where we've got our next guests coming in, and they're experts around that. Especially our first guest we've got coming up in a few minutes, because what she's done, she's managed to have a career as well as being a mother, and not only that, a blended family that just so works. So I'm really looking forward to having our next guest on. And anyway, she grew up in central Victoria, and she's undertaken most of her professional training in the United States of America. She began her business back in 2006, delivering a life skills program, and this was designed by herself, and it's called the Bounce Program. And it was to job service providers. And now, 10 years later, she's got a staff of 5 and a team of 26 trainers. And they train her programs right across Australia. She's had recent meetings in the White House and with government officials in Boston, Massachusetts, which has seen the launch of Bounce in the USA. Maria is the author of 2 books, The Guide to Getting the Job You Want, and one called From the Boardroom to the Bedroom. And she's currently developing her 3rd book, which is called Never Too Late, and that's planned to be released in early 2017. So please welcome Maria Smith.
Hi.
Welcome to the show, Maria.
Thank you, Sharon. Thanks, Phil. It's great to be.
Never too late. Never too late for what?
Well, trying to figure out what you want to be when you grow up. That's what it's about. Yeah. So,
Wow. So
What inspired you to write this book?
Well, in the work that Bounce has been doing, it's incredible how many women have actually been in that inquiry of like, what am I meant to do? Even, 30 plus women, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, wondering what they're supposed to do. And I think it's one of those things that if they didn't get to explore it in their teens or in their 20s or even as a little kid, it's a question that's there and it's existing, and women are really looking to find that. So it just came out of that inspiration and the conversations I've had with women, and they'll ask me that question, Maria, what should I do with my life? So, and it's also knowing that it's never too late to do whatever you want to do. It's incredible how many people are showing up every day doing something incredible in their life, and 45-year-olds, 55-year-olds going back to uni or traveling the globe or climbing mountains, and it just doesn't matter. You can just do it.
it's so awesome. It sounds like it's a book that's been waiting to be written.
Yeah.
And tell me about your trip to the US. What was that all about?
Yes, that was the one when I went to the White House.
Yes, that one.
So look, that was amazing. I had I've met some incredible people that have just been on this journey, and so excited by the work that Bounce has been doing with long-term unemployed, highly disengaged cohorts of people that have really been forgotten about. And so this woman had heard about the work I was doing, and we met in the US, and she just started opening doors, and she said, I think you need to go to the White House. And I was able to meet at the time with the guy who was the Chief Technology Officer to Obama, Todd Parks. So I got to go to the White House, have a meeting, go into the West Wing and do all that. So that was a pretty amazing experience. And it was just great. And so that's just opened a lot of the doors, and I now have a US company running the program over there.
So being a parent doesn't stop you any way, shape or form, does it?
No, so I am a mother of 4, and we're a blended family. So I have the most amazing husband who is just a rock, supportive, and allows me to go to the US a lot and travel a lot. Fantastic. For my different businesses. So that's been a huge part of it. However, there was a time when I started Bounce and I was a sole parent. So my son's biological father was out of the picture completely, and I was suddenly a sole parent and started a business because why not? And it took off, which was great, but it was the experience of never going to be my plan. I wasn't a teenage girl dreaming of one day being a sole parent and starting a business. So, I was like, oh, okay, I've got to figure this out. Yeah. So it was a lot of the learning as I go. And my son, Lucas, is an incredibly passionate, tenacious, driven 11-year-old.
Great. Awesome. Well, hang in there. We're going to throw to a break right now. So don't go away. We'll be straight back after this message.
Hi, and welcome back to Coaches on the Couch, your relationship specialist exploring human behaviour. Today's topic of today is how can you have a life when you are a parent? And we've just been listening to Maria, and she has been fantastic around this topic already, but we also have another guest, Phil.
Yes, we do. To join Maria on the couch, our next guest is the published author, a radio host of 2 separate primetime community shows, internationally published singing and recording artist, and over the last 20 years has been empowering kids and their parents to be their absolute best from a mental, emotional, physical and spiritual perspective. Her latest project is a group called Parents After Kids, which is designed to help and support parents. Please welcome Medyhne Lebachen. Welcome, Medyhne.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Sharon and Phil. It's wonderful to be here.
Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about this Parents After Kids?
Sure, absolutely. I set this group up because I felt there was a need for parents to have more support. There's a whole range of parents out there, whether they be separated, divorced, or, happily married. And a lot of them are finding that they don't have the resources, the network, the support. Phil, you were discussing earlier that people go into parenting without often a lot of training or knowledge. So it's a real area in society where there is a need for more support, I believe. And I see a lot of parents out there today with different situations where they're having challenges, with their kids. Kids are becoming estranged from their parents sometimes after divorce. There's a really interesting statistic which is quite poignant, that in 2000, that at the moment, what's happening with parenting is when kids are going through situations where their parents are divorced, often 1 in 5 children after 3 years is estranged from one parent. Wow. So that's a very big statistic, and I personally have seen that happening a lot in society and, you know, people that I know. And I also, you know, have been through divorce myself, so I know what a challenge that is as a single parent, as you were discussing as well, Marie. And so I think that parents really do have challenges in today's, you know, day and age, and not to mention the pace of life and everything else that we're dealing with.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautifully said. And like I was saying before, I'm not a parent yet. So, you know, this topic of discussion, I could say so much around, but at the end of the day, I actually don't have the experiences yet. So between the two of you, the topic of today is, how do you have a life being a parent? How do you actually make it possible?
I think a really important point is to be mindful, because if you're trying to parent in an unconscious way, where you're just on automatic pilot, you just go ahead and give everything to everyone around you and you forget about yourself. So I think to be really mindful in your everyday life of honouring self, nurturing self, taking time to, if you visualise, for example, a cup, you know, we have an inner cup. So if our cup is full, it means that we're very honouring of self. If our cup is empty, it means that we're giving to everyone else and we don't have anything left for ourselves. So I really encourage people to go in and look at their inner cup and make sure it's full, because we can't give our fullest potential to other people unless our own cup is full. If our cup is empty, we're very limited in terms of how much we can really contribute, and people aren't getting our best. So
that's right.
I think on every level.
And on that note as well, something you'd mentioned earlier, children are always watching. So they see what you do and don't do and how you take care of yourself, or perhaps not taking care of yourself, and they model those behaviours.
That's the best example. If you see someone doing something, it's much more profound than if you're just telling someone what you're doing. You know, kids model on what they see as opposed to what they hear.
Absolutely, and you even hear it when people fly. They say, make sure you put yours on before you take care of the kids. So it's always that, take care of yourself first before others. And I've just, in some of the work that Maria does, I know mums returning to work after they've had their kids. They spend all those years, maybe the first 12, 13, 14 years of their life, bringing them up so they're independent. And then there's what's next for them, so they can lose a bit of their identity around that. I know some of the work you've done with mums. How have you been able to bring that identity back or help them find their way?
Well, I think there's an idea of bringing the and into life. So I'm a mum and I have a career. So oftentimes we have this either or pattern, and it's I'm either a mum or I'm a career woman. And I really know that when people get that concept right, they throw the and into life, we can balance it. And because it's how life is, you know. And I think when we get stuck into an I am statement, then that's who we are being all the time. And suddenly when a woman's returning to work, their I am is I am a mum. And so when they go outside of that, there's fear, there's uncertainty, and the what's next, because they've only known this. But when they just shift that conversation in their mind to say, well, I'm a mum and I'm a career woman, or I'm a business owner, or I'm an adventurer, or I'm a traveller. And I really believe now in our time, it's so exciting because there's so many resources and there is so much support, believe it or not, in doing the things that we want to do. So I think it's about aligning the values really clearly for women to really figure out that value and what's important. Now, there are some women that the value of the family is number one and everything is about that, and that's fantastic. So their end could be, I'm a mum and a great, you know, yoga fitness person, and that's health and well-being for them is really important. So it's that end in the whole identity.
So because even that, where there's the great mum and the yoga fitness person, what they're doing is they're showing their kids what life's all about. That it's okay to care about family, and you don't need necessarily have a career, and it's great to take care of yourself so you can take care of your family. And then there's those that do the lot as well. There's like, okay, let's get the kids dropped off at school, go and do the day's work, arrange for someone else to get them picked up, come back and feed the kids as well. And they're the ones that you can sometimes get lost in, aren't they? Where they're not doing anything for themselves. So it's like, so still looking for that thing. And it's perfect you said that, Marie. they're doing the and.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not just something.
And by doing the end, the contribution that's given to the children, I would imagine, would be enormous in terms of the more energy that the parent would have, attention, love, all of
that
those
filling
things.
up the cup thing, isn't it?
Definitely. Having a strong sense of self-esteem and self-worth is so important, because as kids get older, particularly when they individualise, when they're teenagers, they're often extremely challenging in the sense of trying to find their own voice. So they're going to often oppose what parents say. So if you don't have that strong inner foundation or core, you can be extremely challenged by that process. And I think a lot of parents go into parenting thinking, it's like having a puppy dog. Oh, I've got this beautiful puppy and it's going to just love me, and not quite like that. So I think having that really strong foundation within oneself is crucial, and that's also, being able to be in our joy, do things that we love for ourselves. It's all things like self-care, having a great diet, exercising, all the important things in life, and not letting them all drop when we have.
Perfectly said.
Cool. Now, we've got a break coming up now, ladies. Is it okay if you hang around? We're going to address an issue from an email.
Great.
Beautiful.
So hang in there. We'll be back straight after this break.
Hi and welcome back to Coaches on the Couch, your relationship specialist exploring human behaviour. We have a viewer email that's come from Sarah in Oakley. Phil, would you like to read it out?
Oh, thanks. So it says, hi, Phil and Sharon. Oh, I am married with 3 independent teenagers, aged 14 to 17. I want to return to the workforce after spending the last 17 years raising my kids. However, I don't know where to start. I've lost contact with most of my old friends and only have my mother's club as contacts. Where do you guys suggest? Well, can we help Sarah out?
Yep. For
Yes?
sure, there's 3 things that I think are crucial in taking action in a space like this. So the first one is that it's all about getting connected to herself before she gets out into the world. So get clear on what does she want, what's important to her. Ask herself the questions, what's going to make my heart sing? What's going to get me up in the morning? What are the values that are important to me? And what is it that I want to have show up in my life? So asking questions that are future-paced questions, so almost seeing herself a year in advance. How do I want to feel, be? What am I doing? Who's around me? And start exploring that, and even create a vision board so that she can really start to visually see that. The next thing is her confidence. So in doing this, she's going to really build some confidence, because once you get clear on the thing that you want, you're going to go forward. And that's going to help her get out there and network, because the other thing is getting connected to people. So when she's got her confidence and she's got clarity, it's about making that connection to people outside of herself. So she'll probably find as her confidence is growing, she's going to want to get out there more. So
Absolutely.
My big thing is, when you start sharing with people the thing that you love, do it with everyone. So in the coffee shop, at the library, down the supermarket, have the conversations about the stuff that you love. And incredibly, she's got enough contacts with her kids. They've got parents, they've got, other contacts and connections. So it's about having the conversation with people. And that's going to just start opening doors as well. And of course, she can go online and job search. She can look at employment service providers that are out there. The best jobs are found, though, by making it happen with your own conversations with people, I believe.
Oh, networking is the key to not just business but social as well. And look, it's perfectly said. Creating a vision, the vision is an all-powerful sense that we have, and it's just like watching a movie.
Yes.
We get frightened or scared when we're watching a movie, and laugh as well. So it's like that's always going to put me in. I love it. Medyhne, anything you want to add?
Well, it's actually really good, because you've talked about some of the external things that a person can do. But as I'm a holistic life coach, I go inward, and I would get the person to go inward. They do techniques where, for example, they go in meditations or visualizations, and they go in and connect on the inner with themselves, with things that bring them joy, and in a very sort of a silent space where they're able to cut out all the external noise and really connect to their authentic self, to who they are as a soul, as a person. And there's techniques like connecting with their future self, which you alluded to as well, which is connecting to who they would love to be if their life was ideal in 10 years. And there's other things that you can do as well as this internal work, which are things like asking their best friends, you know, how do you see me? What do you see are my strengths? What do you see that I would really flourish at if I went into the world and work? So you can use different tools like that.
Wonderful.
So it's checking in to seeing how you actually show up in the world.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it's so important. And, you know, talking from a holistic perspective, which is more of a metaphysical perspective on things, I have a really interesting story I'd love to share, which shows that, you know, there's so much to us as beings. My belief is that we have many lifetimes here on the planet, and I can tell you a story that's fascinating that shows this. My son, when he was really tiny, he would say to me this amazing, passionate word of Gadish, Gadish, and he'd cuddle me and he'd pull me really close and squeeze me and say Gadish, Gadish. And I think, what does this word mean? He would say it so often for like 2 years. It was his main word that he would say. And then I was thinking, I wish I knew what this word would mean. It must have some meaning. And then one day I was watching the movie Jesus of Nazareth, and Jesus walks into the temple, and they say in the old Aramaic language, and now Jesus is walking into the Gadish. It meant temple. Temple is such a profound word for me because I work, when I work holistically, I work with temple space. I love temples. I grew up in Templestowe. It's my favourite word.
Full of temples.
I know. And
It's been quite an incredible show, and thank you so much, ladies, because I have honestly learnt a lot from the both of you. If we could summarise some of the few key call-outs that we've heard today that's been significant, what do you think they would be, Phil?
Well, you know, there's we are three components, aren't we? We're our mind, and then we're our body, and then there's our inner spirit or our soul or our energy, whatever you want to call that. So with those three parts, and you know, I can see how it's all intermeshed and all interwoven. And if you're leaning too hard on one or the other of those components, and if you're getting your mind control, this is where you've got to put your hand up and say, whoa, I'm going to stop and get in touch with the real self, the real me, and find those visions that you want to have in your life and look for the directions you want to go to. And that's going to really, you know, assist you in doing it
I'm
that way.
also hearing too, Phil, that it's a really exciting journey for me to be on, to become a parent and know that I can have a life outside of being a parent, the end. And also just in my current life now that there are so many other aspects of me that I can embrace, and it's not just that, you know, all important one label.
absolutely.
What about yourselves?
The takeaways, well, you know, I love the reminder of that soul connection. And I think that, you know, having that sense of the listening and listening to ourselves is so powerful. And I know when I started my company over 10 years ago, it was something that came through in a vision. And I created a vision board and I just kept connecting to it. But it was such an energetic experience. And for me, it was so not what I thought, if you know what I mean. There was the practicality of growing a business and growing a successful business, but there was something deeply soulful for me.
Beautiful. Maria.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've come to the end.
We
haven't
have, and
I hate to
if
cut
they want
it
to
there,
know
I wanna
more
keep
about
going.
Coaches on the Couch,
If you'd like to know more about Coaches on the Couch and today's episode, please head on over to coachesonthecouch.com. Alternatively, the Facebook page.
yes.
But that's it for
Click
today.
over and
Thanks
give
for
us a like.
watching. Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
on the show,
Thank
ladies.
you.
And we'll look forward to seeing you next week.